All right. Hey, parents. I just wanted to take a minute and drop in and talk a little bit about a series that we're currently doing called The One. And what I'm doing here is actually like a little bit of extra on top of what we're talking about in our series. This series is actually a series all about dating. We're doing 3 weeks where we're talking about dating with our students, and we realize that middle school, high school students, they're all in different places with dating. But what I want to share with you right now is a helpful tool that I've used with students before over the years that I think helps create structure around what a healthy relationship can really look like and how we can know if we're in an unhealthy relationship. Now, as parents, this is great. This is a huge resource. And if you're looking at talking with your student about dating, this is a great thing that you're able to use when we engage in this conversation. So, what I want to suggest is that there's 5 elements to a growing healthy relationship. And all 5 of these elements are great things. I think all 5 of them are intended by God to be a part of our relationships and to be part of our dating as we engage in relationships. But the reality is if we go out of order, that oftentimes that can create unhealth in our relationships. And so, let me walk this out a little bit more. What you see up here is 5 words, 5 measurements on the bottom part here. And when I talk about this, I say, these 5 things are in order. That generally we would want to start over here and work our way towards here when it comes to a relationship. So what it starts with is knowing someone. That we start in a relationship with anyone really, with just learning to know them. Who are they? What's their story? What makes up the substance of who they are? Learning to know them. And then we begin to enjoy them, that this is just a general sense of enjoying being with another. Now, you got to be careful with this because oftentimes this can begin with just an infatuation, right? That we just love being around this person, that they make us feel good, especially with students. And so I would encourage any student, right, to become stewards of knowing someone before they learn to enjoy someone. It can be really tempting as students to not ask the hard questions, to not learn about the person, to not really engage in this person's story, and just to begin this infatuation of just enjoying them. I just want to be around them. I don't really know anything about them, but they're so cool. They make me feel good. And it's really easy and tempting just to slip into this enjoy section. And in reality, I want to encourage every student in a healthy relationship to become an individual who learns to know them before you move into a place of just simply enjoying being with them. Now, the next thing would be this place of learning to trust someone. Now, oftentimes we can be really liberal with our trust, and it sets us up in places in our relationships to be hurt. Again, I would suggest that one should learn how to know someone, that we should be able to enjoy someone before we learn to trust someone. And if at any point we become individuals who trust more than we enjoy or more than we know, then we're setting ourselves up for failure in our relationships or unhealth in our relationships. And so again, I would encourage a scale here that as we engage in relationships, that we would learn to know someone, enjoy someone, and then trust someone. We continue on down this lever meter here, and what you're going to see next is this idea of having commitment with someone. Now, there's various levels of commitment, right? Like we talk about boyfriend and girlfriend, or we're in an exclusive relationship, all right? Engagement, marriage, all of these are various levels of commitment. Now, I'm not creating the social structures for what those things are or how they're all placed out, especially in modern teen culture. I get it. It's confusing enough for me. I know it is for you as well. But generally, the perception here is this, is that our commitment to someone should not be higher than our level of trust with someone, with our level of enjoyment with someone, or with our level of knowing someone. But yet, oftentimes in our relationships, we can find ourselves fully trusting and fully committed to someone when we don't yet really know them, or we haven't had the time to really build the enjoyment of being with them. And so, again, I would just simply suggest for any student that our commitment is wavered, that we're not putting ourselves in a level of commitment that we're not fully prepared for. And I think that's healthy. I think that's a healthy conversation. I think we see that walked out in Scripture, and that we see that as part of what God is intending for our relationships. And then lastly is this idea of intimacy. Now, I know we hear the word intimacy, and especially if you're walking this out with your students, you're probably like, I'm not going to use that word. That's a little weird, right? I get it. But generally here, I'm talking about all different kinds of intimacy, emotional. I'm talking about physical as well. There's lots of different levels of intimacy here. And I would simply suggest to any student that our intimacy should never surpass our level of commitment, our level of trust, our level of enjoyment, our level of knowing the person. And yet sometimes in our relationships, we can find that our level of intimacy jumps or elevates and moves ourselves way beyond these other things. And again, this is something that would create unhealth in our relationships. And so I would always simply suggest to students to taper your intimacy with someone. You know, that your intimacy with someone should never go beyond your level of commitment, your level of trust, your level of enjoyment, your level of knowledge of that person. If we're individuals who find that we enjoy someone more than we know someone, that's just obsession. That's just a little weird, right? Like, that's unhealthy, we would say, in any level of relationship. If someone were to trust someone more than they enjoy someone or more than they know someone, I would simply say that that's an insecure and unhealthy relationship, that likely one person trusts one and the other doesn't trust the other, and that's going to create unhealth and unbalance in that relationship. And so we want to talk about that. We want to engage in that conversation. How much do you trust them? With what do you trust them? And what does that mean for your relationship? Again, our commitment. Where is that out? To have a certain level of commitment beyond what we trust in someone, that's just insanity. And so we want to talk about that. And I would generally suggest, especially when we're engaging in our middle school and our high schoolers, to have a real conversation about what level of commitment do we really ever get to in a high school relationship? What does that even really look like? And have an honest conversation with that. Set expectations with your student, honest expectations. There's only so much commitment that they're ever going to get to, which also would back in the conversation that there's really only a certain level of intimacy that they should ever be approaching. This is a helpful tool that I found working with students. I hope it encourages you guys as well. It's something that you guys can use in your homes, just as an extra tidbit to this series. You guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys later.